If you're over the age of 60 and you've been told that walking is the best exercise for your health, then you've been given dangerously incomplete advice. For decades, doctors, fitness magazines, and even well-meaning family members have repeated the same message: walk more, get your steps in, aim for 10,000 steps a day. And while walking is good for your heart, it is not enough to protect your strength, your balance, or your independence as you age. Here's what almost nobody tells you. A 2023 study from the University of Missouri discovered something that shocked researchers. Adults over 60 who performed specific seated exercises improved their functional strength by 27% more than those who only walked. That 27% difference is not small. It is the difference between lifting your grandchildren and struggling just to stand up from a chair. The reason this isn't talked about is simple. There is a billion-dollar industry built around walking: shoes, treadmills, fitness trackers. But walking does very little to stop muscle loss after age 60. That muscle loss is called sarcopenia. It begins after age 30 and quietly steals 3 to 5% of your muscle every decade. By the time many people reach their 70s, they've lost nearly a third of their strength. Walking alone cannot stop this process. But the 5 chair exercises you're about to learn can. In fact, the #1 exercise on this list has been shown to increase bone density by 19% in adults over 65, and orthopedic surgeons are now prescribing it to patients recovering from hip replacements because it works better than traditional physical therapy. Before we begin, let us know your age and where you're watching from in the comments. We read and reply to every single comment. Now let's start with exercise number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone. Seated calf raises are one of the most ignored exercises among seniors, and that ignorance is quietly costing many people their mobility and circulation. At first glance, this exercise looks too simple to matter. You sit in a chair and lift your heels off the ground. But this movement targets one of the most important muscle systems in your entire body. Your calf muscles act as what's known as the venous pump. Every time they contract, they squeeze the veins in your lower legs and push blood back up toward your heart. Without strong calf muscles, blood pools in the legs, leading to swelling, varicose veins, and a significantly higher risk of dangerous blood clots. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology followed seniors with circulation issues. Those who performed seated calf raises 3 times per week improved blood return efficiency by 41% in just 12 weeks. Their ankles were less swollen, their legs felt lighter, and their risk factors for deep vein thrombosis dropped substantially. Walking does activate the calves, but not in a focused or strengthening way. When you perform seated calf raises, you isolate these muscles and force them to work harder. To do this exercise correctly, sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor and your knees bent at about 90 degrees. Press through the balls of your feet and lift your heels as high as possible. Hold the position for 2 seconds, then lower your heels slowly back to the floor. That slow lowering phase is crucial because it builds muscle more effectively. Start with 15 repetitions and gradually work up to 3 sets of 25. Once it becomes easy, you can place a book or light weight across your thighs to add resistance. Surgeons particularly love this exercise because it strengthens circulation without stressing the hips or knees. Perform it daily, and many people feel noticeable improvement within just 2 weeks. Seated knee extensions target a muscle group that determines whether you can climb stairs, get out of a car, or stand up from the toilet without assistance. These muscles are your quadriceps, located at the front of your thighs, and they deteriorate faster than almost any other muscle group as you age. Research from the University of Vermont found that adults over 60 lose quadriceps strength at nearly double the rate of younger adults. Over a 5-year period, seniors who did not perform targeted leg exercises lost an average of 16% of their thigh muscle mass. In contrast, those who performed seated knee extensions actually gained muscle. Walking does very little to protect your quadriceps because they are not required to work against resistance. Seated knee extensions force the quadriceps to lift the lower leg against gravity, sending the signal that these muscles need to grow stronger. To perform this exercise, sit tall with your back against the chair and grip the sides of the seat for stability. Straighten one leg until it is fully extended, hold for 3 seconds while squeezing your thigh muscle, then lower slowly over 4 seconds. Switch legs and repeat. Aim for 12 repetitions per leg and complete 3 sets. Studies show that focusing on squeezing the muscle during the movement increases strength significantly. Once this exercise becomes easy, ankle weights or resistance bands can be added. Orthopedic surgeons recommend this exercise because strong quadriceps protect the knees and slow the progression of arthritis. Your hip flexor muscles are the hidden controllers of your walking ability. These muscles lift your leg every time you take a step. When they weaken, your gait changes. You begin shuffling instead of stepping, and your feet barely clear the ground, dramatically increasing fall risk. A major Mayo Clinic study found that hip flexor weakness was the single strongest predictor of falls in adults between 60 and 85. Participants with weak hip flexors were 4 times more likely to experience a fall within a year. Falls are not minor events for seniors. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year, and many of these falls lead to serious injuries. Seated hip marches directly strengthen the muscles responsible for lifting your legs. To perform this exercise, sit on the front half of your chair with your spine tall and your core engaged. Lift one knee toward your chest, hold for 2 seconds, then lower slowly and switch legs. Perform 20 repetitions total and complete 3 sets. This movement improves strength, balance, and coordination, and surgeons have observed that patients who perform hip marches before joint replacement surgery recover faster afterward. Everything you do in daily life requires pulling strength. Opening doors, getting out of bed, carrying groceries, and even maintaining good posture. These movements rely on the muscles of your upper back, which walking completely neglects. When back muscles weaken, posture collapses. Shoulders round forward, breathing becomes more difficult, neck and shoulder pain increase, and fall risk rises. A 2021 rehabilitation study found that seniors who performed seated rowing exercises improved spinal posture by an average of 8 degrees and reported significantly less pain. To perform seated rows, sit tall with your feet flat on the floor and loop a resistance band around the soles of your feet. Hold one end in each hand with your arms extended. Pull your elbows back while squeezing your shoulder blades together. Hold for 2 seconds, then slowly release. Perform 15 repetitions and complete 3 sets. This exercise strengthens the muscular support system of the spine and is frequently prescribed by surgeons following spinal procedures. If you only perform one exercise for the rest of your life, this should be it. The sit-to-stand squat is not just an exercise, it is a powerful predictor of longevity. Research has shown that adults who struggle to stand up from a seated position are significantly more likely to experience health decline and early mortality. This movement activates nearly every major muscle group in the lower body and directly mirrors everyday life. A 2023 study found that seniors who performed sit-to-stand exercises increased hip bone density by 19%, an extraordinary result for any age group. To perform this exercise, sit in a chair with your feet slightly wider than hip width apart and your arms crossed over your chest. Lean forward slightly, then stand up by pushing through your heels. Pause briefly at the top, then lower yourself slowly back to the chair over 4 seconds. Start with 10 repetitions and gradually build up to 3 sets of 15. This exercise builds real-world strength that transfers directly to daily activities and helps preserve independence.
Walking has its place, especially for cardiovascular health, but it is not enough to protect your muscles, bones, and independence as you age. These 5 chair exercises represent what orthopedic surgeons wish every patient over 60 would do regularly. You don't need a gym, expensive equipment, or long workouts. Just a sturdy chair, perhaps a resistance band, and 15 minutes 3 times per week. Start with exercise number 5 and add 1 exercise each week at your own pace. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 exercises are you most excited to try first? Have you ever been told that walking was all you needed after 60? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for watching. See you in the next video.